Hello everyone and welcome to my channel, and today I'll be reading a multi-character exeter by me. So let's get into it. Child would be extremely protective over you, but then again, he knew you could hold your own in battle, which meant that he absolutely did not hold back on sparring or other things. But as it came, when you were someone else and he suspected that they might have any ill intentions towards you, then he would not hesitate to put them in danger or retaliate against them. But of course, he would not intervene unless you really saw that you needed it. He knew that you were independent enough to do your own thing, and that's why he kind of loved you. You were strong, and you were not afraid of anyone. So, he just kind of liked to watch and admire you from afar. But was he protective? Absolutely yes, because he would intervene the moment you needed it, before you could even say it. He would just know. Maybe blame it on the fact that he was too in love. But what could he do? He just loved you so much. Albedo. Albedo was very affectionate towards you, and very protective too. So, how protective is he? On a scale of 1 to 10, I would give him a 7. He's protective, but not overly so. Maybe that would be a 5, but he's just protective, really protective, but he tries to keep it in. He doesn't want to bother you. But that doesn't mean he doesn't analyze everything you tell him, like who your new friend is, or that you only made with someone passing by. He would analyze everything just to make sure no one's tricking you. And if someone is even daring to do anything to you, they better be prepared to actually face Albedo. He might be an alchemist, but he really knows how to fight. Have you seen just what happened with Clone Bedo? Yeah, you better be thinking of that. Venti. I would give him a 5, probably. He was carefree, but that doesn't mean he doesn't care about you. If you're in danger and need his help, he will come and help you, no matter where you are. He's the Archon of Wind, and that means he's really fast at getting to you, and the other person, whoever they were, will probably end up flying away. He doesn't want to harm people, not really, especially if they're children of Mondstadt. But that doesn't mean he was gonna let anyone harm you. He cares about you first and foremost. But like I said, he's not overly protective. Maybe he's just not the type to go out and look if someone is planning to hurt you or something. If you need help, just tell him. Otherwise, he probably won't stress it. Kazuha. This boy is probably an 8 or 7 or somewhere in between. He's really protective of you. And he can't handle you getting hurt ever. But he will not, just try and bother you with it. He won't be stalking you or trying to see everything you're doing. But he does worry about you a lot. And you often look for cues in your body language, or whispers of the wind, to see if someone was bothering you. But other than that, he won't interfere unless he feels like he needs to. And most of the time, he's very accurate about the timing. He knows when you need him most. And he doesn't bother you when you don't. It's important, he knows, that you face your own troubles yourself. Everyone has their own share of personal problems they have to face on their own, their fears, and the things they hated most. But Kazuha knew, no matter how many problems you had to face, or how many people tried to hurt you, because of him or other reasons, he'd be right there with you. Whether it was fighting off people, or just being someone you can go to at night, and hug him, and stay warm and safe in his arms. Scaramouche. Oh, Scaramouche was really protective. I mean, if someone even looks at you the wrong way, he would probably end up just being extremely mad, and would probably punish them. You don't know how, and you don't know what happened, and it's probably better if you don't. So, what would happen if someone exactly just did more than that? Like maybe laid a hand on you, threatened you, or made you cry, even? Oh god. Scaramouche would just lose it. So, you have to keep him under control. And to be honest, you're like his threat. The threat that's holding him back from going absolutely feral and insane on everyone. But you were kind of also the reason, so it was a tough spot. For the most part, though, if it was nothing major, you could just hug it out and tell him to calm down, and that it wasn't a big deal. In the end, I'm giving this boy a 10. Xiao! Xiao was really protective of you, which is why he always told you that whenever you needed him, you just had to call his name. And wasn't just that the most romantic and sweetest thing ever? You could just be lonely and you would call his name. Of course, you wouldn't do that, but you kind of wanted to sometimes. He was protective of you, and when he was with you and someone did something wrong, and by wrong I mean wronged you in any way, even if it meant they were just a little bit mean, he would talk back. But he wouldn't use violence unless met with violence, or threaten with it. However, if you do need him, do not hesitate to call his name, even if the entire reason was because you had a nightmare. Yeah, don't worry about it. He'd be there in a second. Hell, even less than that. He just worries about you so much. And he won't be mad either. He would just hold you and ask you what you need to calm down. He's a sweetheart like that. Thoma. Thoma was the perfect man that any woman could dream of and ask for. He knew the perfect mix between being carefree and protective. So, would he bother you about some man staring at you? Not, but if you're uncomfortable and you could sense it, he sure as hell was going to interfere with that, and probably tell him off. And he knows that probably initiating too much violence would embarrass you, and he's not a violent person in the end, so he doesn't do it unless absolutely needed. But for the most part, he's really carefree and doesn't bother you. And he gets protective in situations that require it. He does worry about you from time to time, but of course, for reasonable reasons. Yeah, he's kind of perfect like that. Not too much worrying, and just the right amount of being carefree. After all, you're his beloved, and of course he was going to care about you.